You look different than you do on Zoom. Maybe I do too. I've prepared a 1-hour talk today, and I've learned that there's 2 ways to shorten the talk. As a congregation member, I usually sleep in the middle, and that makes it quite a bit shorter. And from up here, if I see you asleep, I'll shorten it. So you have 2 ways to shorten it today. Anyway, want to walk through with you something serious and quite difficult. But I think that unless we go difficult, we can sometimes just hear what we have thought we heard before. How do we know what we should do when? Here we go. Now that's fairly small, is it? I'm going to tell you what we're going to do today. Some steps we may jump. We're going to ask an important question, and we're going to read a scripture that will give us the answer, and we're going to see how that text has been misused, and we'll find God's answer to our question, and that answer will set us free. And that's what I'm hoping that I can give you today, something that will set you free to be happy with yourselves and also with others. Our important question is this. You want a little bit higher? They would have gone to sleep quicker, wouldn't they? Our important question is this: how do we know what we should do when? Now, this is a question that you're dealing with, I'm dealing with every day. What shall we do, and when shall we do it? We do it in a lots of ways. I've just moved to Healesville, coming back from overseas, and I had to decide what I should throw out and what I should keep every day for 1 year, for 9 months. Now we're going to read a scripture that does have the answer to this question. Now it's a text that you know very well, but maybe like other people you have read it wrong. You remember this text? For everything, come on. For everything there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born. Well, we don't have much choice there, do we? A time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up what is planted. I'm not going to read them all because you have read them many times, but there is a time to weep and a time to laugh. You know that one. What about a time to keep silence and a time to speak? I think we wrestle with that quite often. Should we say anything? Shall we not say anything? When should we say it? Maybe we should say it later. And then a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. There is a season for every matter under heaven. Now, this is the beginning to answer our question, but we're going to have to read further to get a real answer. Now, this text has been misused in our culture by the peace movement. I didn't know, because I hadn't know you, I don't see you, I don't know how much you're rooted in popular culture. But can I see the hands of those who've heard of Pete Seeger? Yes, well, there isn't a lot of people here my generation, is there? Pete Seeger in the late 50s. By the way, I was hardly born. He was under pressure to come up with more pop songs. And he skimmed through the Bible. He saw Ecclesiastes 3, and it was probably looked like a poem, and he made it into a song. He gave it to his publisher within 4 minutes, and he had a song ready to go. It became a big song. It became one of the biggest songs that are quoting directly from Scripture that there has ever been in our culture. And the song is "Turn, Turn, Turn." Some of you may have heard it in one of its variations. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time for peace, it ends up, and I swear it's not too late. Now, this was the first pop song to be composed of Bible verses only and to top the Billboard charts. This was different people that sang it. You may know some of them. Birds was the most influential one in 1965. It has also been featured. It also has been featured. Has been featured in lots of movies as well. Maybe some of you know about Forrest Gump or America or Wonder Years or Cold. Then there's TV dramas that include this song. So here we have the Bible being used again and again and again in popular culture, and it's all based on a misreading of the text. And the reason I'm bringing that up today is that we all have texts that we think we know the meaning to, and we never look deeper, and we just keep on using the same text over and over again forever. The song says, "A time for peace, I swear it's not too late." The Bible text says, "A time for war and a time for peace." It doesn't say a time for peace. It says a time for war and a time for peace. The problem is, when is the time for war? When is the time for peace? That's the question. It's not the answer. And it says in the text, for everything there is a season. Not just peace, there is a season. But for everything. For war, there is a season. I don't know if many of you took any part in the celebration of Anzac last week. I went to dawn service in Millgrove. I try to go every year and remember the people who have given us the peace that we have. But it became a peace song for the peace movement for years, and led protests. People who had protests sang this song. It was a misreading of the text. The text was just beginning to ask the question, not giving an answer. For those who know Pink Floyd, we'll just go through that. And what about Eagles? Anybody is an Eagles fan? The song Desperados. Both of these songs are songs that are written from Ecclesiastes. And the answers are not quite what the Bible is saying. And the guitarist Bernie Ledden said in 1981, the songs were really perceptive, but they only identify the truth of the condition. They don't offer any real answer. We identify the fact that we need, and are never satisfied. But there was no answer. Today we're looking for an answer to the question, not the question itself. How do we know what we should do when? The answers are there. We've just got to keep reading. It doesn't finish with, for everything there is a season under heaven. This is what it says in the next part, and Ecclesiastes is not an easy text, but it's going to give you a solid answer that you can you can make decisions based on. You can live your life, you can deal with the life on it. It goes on to say, what gain have workers from their toil? Now what it's talking about is the toil of deciding. This is a toil that you have to do over and over again with people, with things, with places, with jobs, with no jobs. You have to make a decision what to do when. And it's an impossible task to get right. We almost never get it right. We work so hard to get to work it out, and we seldom get it right, so why should we even bother to try? This is complicated technology here. God has given us this business to be busy with. How about you change it back there when I say the words? Because it's just not going on. God has given, this is really slowing me down. Maybe I'll just forget about that in the background. I'm just going to talk to you, all right? I'll just talk. I have the privilege of seeing some words. You have no privilege of seeing words. There's no pretty pictures anyway. God's given us this busyness, this business to be busy with. The text says God has made us busy to be busy with deciding what to do. He set us up to try to feel like we have to do the right thing at the right time. It says He put eternity into our hearts, which means we know that what we do is going to affect what will happen afterwards. We know that. And that makes it even more stressful for us to decide what to do. We know that if we say the wrong thing at the wrong time, we're going to have to live with it for a long time. So we're very careful what is going to happen when. And I think you can just turn these off, if you could, at the back. And that's what the text is saying. The text is not saying there is an answer for everything under heaven. It's saying God has made you want to have an answer. No, you must have an answer, but He's made it so you can't work out what the answer is. No, turn it off. You've done it. Terrific. Good. Okay, now we're going to talk face to face. Forget about the technology and the words. There's too many words anyway, particularly for a 3-hour sermon. So God has set it up, the text says, that we have to agonize about this question. And He's also set it up so we can't work out the answer. What do you think about that? What should we do then? We can't give up trying to decide, but we can never work out how to the right decision to make. So the text goes on to say, in this case, I know that there is nothing better for us than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we live. So give up trying to be expecting yourself to be right every time. Just be happy to enjoy yourself as long as you live in this miserable life that you're living. That's what it says. Moreover, it's God's gift that all should eat and drink and take pleasure in all their toil. And this is where the Christian answer comes in. It's not I'm okay, you're okay, pat you on the back, pat me on the back, everything's good. It says here that God has a gift to give you, that even though you make a mistake after you've tried so hard to do the right thing at the right time, He can still make it possible for you to be happy. He can still find a way to help you forgive yourself because He has forgiven you for your mistake. That's half the answer. The other half, if you keep reading, the other half is, that half means live with your limitations. Don't expect to be right all the time. Don't expect to be right most of the time. Expect to make a wrong decision many times. And don't beat yourself up for it and say, I wish I had done that. What if I had done that? If I'd only done that. Let it go. You couldn't have got it right anyway. You don't know the future anyway. You're not that clever. God would have liked to make you that clever, but he would have then had to make you into a god, which you're not. But he does give you the gift of trying, of wanting, of responsibility. He's given you that gift. And along with that gift, he's also given you the gift of being happy even if you've made a wrong decision and done the wrong thing at the wrong time. He's still going to give you the gift of being happy. Live with our limitations. Now, the other half of the answer comes following in the text. It says, I know that whatever God does endures forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor anything taken from it. God knows what to do when. God knows what to do when. And God does it when it should be done. God doesn't make mistakes. That's the other half of the answer. You will make mistakes. Other people will make mistakes. And God has found a way, has a gift to give you to help you to be happy despite that. But in the meantime, we can be confident that God doesn't make mistakes. He does whatever has to be done at the right time. So we can step back and relax and don't try to be gods ourselves. And why has God set it up this way? It says in the text, God has done this so that all should stand in awe before him. Our job is to be in awe of God. First job is to know that we have limitations. And other people have limitations. Don't expect everything to be perfect all the time. Don't expect other people to talk to you the right way, say the right thing, do the right thing at the right time. Don't be anxious because you've done the wrong thing at the wrong time, because you have limitations. But God doesn't have limitations. And our response to it is to live in awe of God and in trust of God that he will never make mistakes. And he has provided a way for us to live with ours. God has abilities that we'll never have. That which is already has been. That which is to be already is. And God seeks out what has gone by. God knows beginning from the end from the beginning. He knows what will be the effect of every decision and every action. He knows that, and we don't have that. So just accept that God is God and we are not gods, and we'll be able to live with the question, what shall we do when? So believe and be glad that God has no limitations. He has abilities that we'll never have, and he can't give to us because we are creatures on a timeline. These answers can help us to deal with other sets of issues as well. One of the other sets of issues that we won't go into today is how do we live with injustices and wickedness? Now, one of the things that we are fed constantly in the media, news programs, particularly investigative programs, and all kinds of things, we are every day we are made to be upset at what other people are doing somewhere, how stupid they are, how stupid our politicians are, how bad is our vaccine program. By the way, I've got 2 vaccines, Pastor. You've only had 1. So I have the safest cough in this church. Even if I bring my handkerchief up, it doesn't matter. You can only get a cold from me, nothing else. But we are fed every day with to be judges and to say other people did the wrong thing. How stupid could they be? How bad could they be? In the process, we are saying to ourselves, we are judges who wouldn't be as stupid as they were if we were in their place. So we lift ourselves up, we put others down, and we see injustice all over the place. Injustice in Myanmar, injustice here, injustice there. And we can, sometimes I just don't watch the news because I don't want to get upset about something else. And how are we going to live with the injustices? Moreover, I saw, the text says, under the sun, I saw under the sun, in the place of justice, wickedness was there. And in the place of righteousness, wickedness was there as well. That's another whole set of things. How do we live with injustice? And I decided not to go there today, to leave that for another thing. What we're looking at today is how did we decide what to do when. Now, God does take seriously our decision. It's not say, okay, any decision's okay, because we couldn't have made it right anyway, because it says, God, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. You will, sometimes that what you do will be wrong and will have bad effects. God has appointed a time for every matter and for every work. It's not like it doesn't matter what you decide. It matters what you decide. But the other half of it is God has a gift to help you be happy even when you have made the wrong decision, to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. He has a gift to give you. Now that word gift there is the gospel in Ecclesiastes. The gift is, he has the gift of forgiveness. Forgiveness that lets you start again. And it's a gift that he has paid a great price to make available to you. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do the right thing at the right time. It means that if you've made a mistake, that there's a gift to keep that will allow you to be happy anyway. Not just agonize about what you ought to have done, should have done, would have done, could have done. Let it go. God has provided a gift to let you be happy, even though you made a mistake. So we need to accept these truths. We have limitations and we make mistakes. God has provided a resolution for that so that we can eat, drink, and be happy. Even be happy with ourselves. Even be happy with ourselves even though we've made mistakes. God has a gift that he has prepared for us to make that possible. God has no limitations. He doesn't make mistakes. But in the process, he's not judging us, punishing us, putting pressure on us because we have done the wrong thing. He's given us the other gift. So, with that knowledge, with that answer, you can be at peace with yourself in your situation. I have a nice picture here of someone in a wheelchair, and I've got the word that says you can be at peace with yourself in your situation. Whatever the limits are, whatever's happening with you health-wise or age-wise or family-wise, I saw there is nothing better than all should enjoy their work of deciding what to do when. That's the main work we're talking about here. For that is their lot. Who can bring them to see what will happen after them? There's no way for you to know what will be the long-term effect of what you decide. Nobody can bring you to see that. So it's hit and miss. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. How can we then know what we should do when? The question's wrong. And so there's no answer for it. The answer is at the end of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, it asks the question, when will it rain? This is for you. Are you asking the question, when will it rain? And the answer is, when the clouds are full, they'll rain. You don't know. Which way will the tree fall? If you're building a house and there's a big tree, which side of the tree do you build a house? Because that's one day the tree's going to fall one way or the other. Whether the tree falls to the south or the north, in the place where it falls, that's where it'll fall. Why do you think you will know the answers to all of these questions? How will you know the answers what to do, when, every time? You won't know it. Which way will the wind blow? It says, whoever watches the wind will never sow. And what do the clouds mean? Whoever regards the clouds will never reap. And the text says, you do not know what will prosper. This or that, or both alike, you don't know. And so, in the morning, sow your seed. In the evening, do not let your hands be idle. Keep busy. Don't give up. Keep doing your best. God will cover the rest. That's the Christian answer to the question. Not, I'm okay, you're okay. But I'm not okay, God's okay. But God will help me to live with me being not okay. Don't forget, this has the other side as well. I hope you're all feeling like you can live with yourself a little bit better now. But the other side of it is, how do you know what others should do when? Particularly towards you. You don't know that either, so don't be so opinionated. Don't be so judgmental. Don't be so harsh on other people and demand that they be gods. Remember, we are not gods or judges. Remember, there is a God, and there is a judge. God knows what to do when, and he does it then. Thank goodness. So what we did today is ask an important question, read a scripture that gave us an answer, saw how the people misread it, and we found God's answers, and it should have given us some freedom. Free to be happy with ourselves, despite our limitations, and with others, despite their limitations. God bless you with happiness as long as you live the miserable life that you do live. God bless you.